Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. In this lecture, we will be discussing about the world court that has issued a warrant against the supreme leader of Afghanistan as well as the Chief Justice of Afghanistan. So yes, warrant has been issued against them. So we will see why, for what reason is this warrant being issued? Is it justified or not? Does world court have the jurisdiction or not? If yes, then how so? At the same time, what is Taliban's response and what happens next? So let's get started with the news article. Now, what is the news all about? It is about the International Criminal Court. So the world court that we are talking about is the ICC, that is the International Criminal Court, which has issued this warrant. Now, against whom? Against the two supreme, designations that are there. One is the supreme leader of Afghanistan, and the other one is the Chief Justice. Now, why that has happened? That has happened for what reason? So the reason that are given here is crime against humanity. So it has been classified as crime against humanity. What has been classified as that? The gender-based persecution that is happening in Afghanistan has been classified as crime against humanity, for which the warrant has been issued. Now, the warrants are against these two gentlemen, or the Talibanians. Now, one of them, the supreme leader of Taliban, is this person. The other one, who is the Chief Justice of Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, is this. Right. Now, how did Taliban come into picture? See, Afghanistan had a government previously, but what has happened? A few years back, Taliban, which was a terrorist organization, yes, you heard that right, was a terrorist organization, is actually right now governing Afghanistan. Governing or misgoverning, that's a different thing, but the idea is that they hold the government now, they are the government now, they are the power now. So the people who were part of the terrorist organization, or the entire terrorist organization itself, is now the government of Afghanistan. So what do you expect of such a government? See, they can be coming up with good rules, regulations as well, or probably not. So over here, they are coming up with rules and regulations which are gender biased in a manner to the extent of being declared as gender persecution being happening in Afghanistan, leading to crime against humanity. So let us dig deep into this news and understand more about this. Before we move on, the notification about the new batches that will start from 9th and 11th August, so 2 batches in the month of August, wherein you will be trained, coached, right, and mentored by the experts in the field of UPSC. Right. So these experts have done their interviews multiple times as well, and have over 10 years of experience individually in mentoring hundreds of successful aspirants. Now, the advantage with Legacy IAS Academy is, of course, the comprehensive coverage of GS paper. Now, this looks a very basic thing that yes, that will be provided, but trust me, in many institutes that does not happen. So that is a point. We do still mention this, but of course, in addition to this, there are other edges that you will get. Is one is the one-on-one mentorship and doubt solving, again by the faculties that you saw, and not by any inexperienced teacher. At the same time, regular interaction with the faculties are there. The founders themselves have given multiple interviews, and their doors are also always open for you. Then you have a maximum student limit of just 40, so that individual attention can be given. You will have daily mains answer writing practice, in addition to, of course, the prelims and mains test series. Another important thing that we do here is the 360-degree coverage of current affairs. What we do is, every week, an entire day is dedicated only for live current affairs classes, in order to cover your current affairs also comprehensively. So if you want to get enrolled with us, you can download the app. The provisions are there in that, or you can call on this number or log on to our website. I hope that's clear. Let's now continue with what is happening in Taliban, or rather what judgment has been given and what are the repercussions. So what are the key allegations? The key allegation is the systematic persecution. There's a structure that is being formed, and systematically the persecution, it's not a one-off thing, it's a continuous systematic thing that is happening. What is happening? Persecution based on gender, and political grounds are also there, because of this government, as I said, is nothing but a terrorist organization previously. Now they are the government, so they would of course not accept that to be true. Anyway, moving ahead, the deprivation that is happening, persecution as in the deprivation with respect to the gender, is happening based on education, privacy, family, freedom of expression, movement, religion, and conscience. Even like how much of the body is to be covered is also decided by them. And how much is to be covered? The entire body. How it is decided? Let us move ahead. So basically, Taliban came up with the morality law. Now these people are coming up with morality law. Now these morality laws are biased specifically against the women. So what are these laws? Basically, it's a 144-page code which includes what? Mandatory full body covering for women. So if you can see in this picture, mandatory full body covering for women. See, the thing is, it's not that you cannot cover your body, you should not, others, the idea is others should not decide whether you can or cannot cover the body. That is the whole point of it. If you want to wear jeans, trousers, jerseys, whatever you want to wear, it's your personal choice, right? And no one else should dictate what should be the choice. In the same manner, see, it could be the reverse also. Let's say the government comes in, a very liberal government, and says that from tomorrow onwards, all the females will wear only bikini. Now that is also incorrect. So the idea here is not whether the body is completely covered or completely exposed. The idea is someone else external to you should not be the one deciding as to what you cover. Of course, there are certain exceptions. For example, when you go to a religious place, so there is a decorum and there is a uniform. Uniform in the sense, not the same uniform kind of a thing, but there is a sort of a dress code. You should respectedly following those dress codes, and that is completely fair enough because it's a religious place, a place of belief, sentiment, so on and so forth. But at the same time, in your personal life, in your private life, when you're going, when you're enjoying, when you're living your life, it should not be dictated by someone else. Now moving ahead, the bans on public speaking, singing for women is also banned. So now they can't even sing. Now why it is an issue? Even as per the Islamic law, this is an issue. Why is that the case? See, the music other than the music of Dafli is sort of haram in Islam. So if you actually talk about following Islamic law, then also you are wrong, because then also you should be banning it for both men and women. But are you doing that? You are not doing that. You are banning only women. See, doing that for others also would not be correct, because people can follow whatever belief and faith they want to follow. But at least in that case, that would be religious persecution based on the religious fundamentals. But here, you are doing it only for one gender and not for other. So it's not just the religious fundamentals that you are trying to impose, but rather you are doing discriminately only against the women. And further prohibition on eye contact between men and women. Then you have criminalization of LGBTQIA plus identity. This is the sexual orientation. Different kinds of sexual orientation are also criminalized. Now, United Nations has described this as a gender apartheid. When in African nations or in USA there was basically racial apartheid, this is gender apartheid. Moving ahead, now what is the basis of ICC's jurisdiction and what is the legal basis behind this? So ICC, which was established, it's not International Cricket Council, it's the International Criminal Court, established in 2002. Remember this for your prelims, under the Rome Statute of 1998, headquartered in The Hague, Netherlands. There are various other organizations headquartered in The Hague. It's very famous for headquarters of important organization. You should know what they are. Now, It consists of four main crimes. One is war crime, then crime against humanity, crime of aggression, and genocide. So here it's the topic of crime against humanity. Now, what is the basis of jurisdiction? Afghanistan basically acceded to the Rome Statute under which ICC is there in the year 2003. So that is why ICC does have jurisdiction in Afghanistan. Right. Now, what happens is, since you have the jurisdiction, so ICC can take up the cases, and it did do that. Right? It did take up the case. So what is the timeline? In 2021, Taliban seized Kabul and became the government themselves. You can see that inside the parliament also they are there. They themselves are there with the guns and stuff. They are not the bodyguards and stuff with the guns. They themselves are the part of the government with the guns inside the parliament. So ICC prosecutors submitted the application of warrants in Jan 2023. And then in July 8, the warrants have been issued. One interesting thing happened between these two timelines. What happened is, in the month of February itself, Taliban actually removed itself or rejected the let's say whatever the jurisdiction of ICC. It rejected it and said we are not a part of it. But as you, that happened in February, but as you know, already in January the prosecutor had submitted the application, so the process still kept on continuing, and on 8th of July the warrants were issued. So what is the official response of Taliban? The official response of Taliban is simple, straight and clear. Not necessarily right, but straight and clear, that they say we do not recognize the international court, right? And they had already said that in February 2025 as well. Now, what is the practical reality? The warrant has been issued, but will they be arrested? Arrest is highly unlikely. How do you arrest them, right? How do you arrest them? In the sense that you will have to literally go to war with them to arrest them, right? So that is the basic issue. Now, what are the broad significance over here? See, maybe the arrest as such does not go on, but some indirect pressure can be created. For example, it would reinforce the gender-based persecution that is happening, not just there, but in other parts of the world as well, and make the people of Afghanistan, at least the civilians, more aware about it. That can happen. It, of course, expands the scope of international legal accountability, right? International legal accountability is there. Their own government is saying something, but international law, international institute is saying something else. You have acceded to it, so you need to be accountable to it, right? Moving ahead, it puts diplomatic pressure on Afghanistan. To some extent, there is a diplomatic pressure. The other countries would say that you are being gender discriminative, so we may not want to trade with you. So that kind of diplomatic pressure can be over here. At the same time, it may strengthen the advocacy for women's rights in the conflict zone. Now, more and more people would want to work towards this and achieve gender parity or equality, specifically the equality of opportunity. Thank you.